Oh, well, hello. Welcome to. We're gonna learn how to walk. Oh, wait, oh. Yeah, we're doing figure motion. It's time to. We're gonna figure out how to move. And we're gonna walk right now. Hey, welcome to the first of a whole surplus of figure motion videos. I'm gonna try and break down some basic motions one at a time to, really go in depth with each one and try and talk about it to the best of my ability. Let's get started. Let's start in this document, in fact. So, you want to learn how to walk. You want to make it look good. You want your figures to be moving along, whether they are full body or they are stick figures, or maybe they might even be character animations where each limb is like its own symbol. Puppetry. The bone tool, you can do that too. And it all starts with the walk cycle. Say you got somebody walking along and you want to see them, but you don't want them to move, you want the background to move. Then that's when you would institute a walk cycle. If someone's walking and the camera isn't moving, like they're going this way, and you actually see them move, then you can use a walk cycle, but it almost always looks better if you just animate it by hand for each step that they take. Because usually it's not that many if the camera's not moving. Anyway, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with the head. Classic, necessary, and impossible to get on the first try. Sometimes I do. Sometimes, yeah, I should sell that. I thought about selling one earlier in a different video, but that one is the one I should really sell. Buy this head now. This one, right here. Symbolize it. Great. F8, and then hit enter on movie clip. Okay. So, I'm gonna be using the brush tool. I did a couple as practices. I did one with the line tool, and it was okay. But then I did this one with the brush tool, so I'm gonna do that. And I'm not even gonna use pressure sensitivity. So all you mouse users, hey, it applies to you too. But not to say that if I'm doing this, it's not something you can do. Anyway. So I want it to be the body. I'm gonna be doing a stick figure to keep it simple. 200. And that looks good to me. That's good cooking. I should sell that with the head. So here's my body. Here is my body of my figure. And for the sake of simplicity, I'm just gonna make the body and the head one big symbol. So I don't have to deal with replacing the body every time. It'll save time later. In a real walk cycle, the body might change shape a little bit. I'm dramatizing it right here. It might change shape a bit to give style to the walk. Like each time he steps down, his torso might compress a little bit. I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna leave it, and it looks fine. So 200%. Here's the first leg. Okay. In a walk cycle, there are a few key elements. You got legs apart, like this. Same thing goes for a run cycle. Then you have legs together, like that. Yeah? And then there's all those in-betweens. So at any point in your walk cycle, your legs are either they are getting closer together or they're spreading apart. And then once they get far apart, they will slow and then start coming back in. Yes. And you can make it however long you want. But just remember, if you're doing a cycle, it's pretty helpful to keep the amount of frames it takes even, because then there will be 3 frames of them getting closer. If you're doing 6, which is what I'm gonna do, there will be 3 frames of them getting further apart, and then 3 of them getting closer together. Easy and simple. But say you're doing a 10-frame walk cycle, 5 apart, 5 together. Yeah. Or maybe it's like 4 apart, and then the middle one where they're both lined up is kind of the same as the outside, where they're not really moving apart or together, they're just in that frame to look smooth. Okay, so I'm going to position him about 1 torso length off the ground. Like, oh my gosh, shift is not working in my favor. Like 1 torso, well, I guess, and then some. There. I did draw that a little bit short though. Okay, so here's a leg, right? That looks good. That's a good leg. But that's not where I would start it. I'm going to start mine. Oh, I'm going to be doing this a lot too. I talked about this in the basic tutorial. But if you hold a corner, like you would rotate it, and then you hold Alt, that'll be rotating from the opposite corner. I do that a lot with legs, because then it makes it really easy to work with, because legs bend from one end all the time. Your legs are bending from one end right now. Unless you have no legs, then, well, I mean, maybe at one point they were. I'm gonna go on with it. This is where I would recommend you start with them together, because you can kind of smudge the boundaries, and it's easier to end with them like right here than to end with them lining up with their final positions. So I would recommend you start with them in the center. Okay. The front leg never bends. Oh, and we're just doing a single step walk cycle. If it was full body, like to where you could tell which leg was which. Oh shoot, I'm gonna have to find which brush stroke that was. If it was full body, you would be able to tell which leg was in front, and you would have to do a double step or a 2-step walk cycle, where you animate this leg both going backwards and going forwards. But because stick figures, you can't tell which leg is in front, then you can kind of cheat and just do a single step, where you only animate one leg going backwards and one leg going forwards instead of both forward and backward, because then at the point right here where they cross, the legs they'll flip legs. And I'll point it out once I do the final animation. Okay, so there are things to remember. Let me find the brush I was on. That's close enough. I'm going to copy the body where it is right now, and then it's copied, and I'll just paste it in place later when I need to get it back. Okay, so the front leg is always going to be the front leg because you're only animating a single step for this tutorial. It never bends. Never, ever at the knee. It just doesn't, because it is out there getting leverage, and it needs to be as long as possible to get as much leverage as possible to propel the torso forward. The back leg doesn't bend until it comes off the ground. So when you walk, your legs go apart, and this one is in the air. Well, okay. It's kind of like, maybe for this frame, it's a little bit bent, like just barely, but then it straightens out because it's going out as far as it can to push yourself that way. So, like, here's what the frames will look like. It'll be straight right here, and then it'll be a little bit bendy as it comes off the ground because it needs to pull the foot forward. And then here, it'll be like somewhat bendy, like, I don't know, 170 degrees. And then here, right here, once the legs cross at this frame, the front leg straightens out, because then it stops being like this and it kicks out to try and go and get this foot as far as possible without exerting energy. Because that's all walking is. It's just letting your legs swing, and then you just keep them stiff enough to push yourself forward, and then your toe, your big toe in the back, that pushes you forward too. So I'm just gonna do it, and then I'm gonna talk about it. Here is how I would draw the first frame. This leg is still a tiny bit bendy, like just barely. This is the back leg, in quotes, and then this is the front leg, in quotes. And I don't mean front as in closer to the camera, I mean front as in left to right. Front being the direction he's moving, and back being the direction he's coming from. Okay. If I hit new frame, I'll paste the body where it was and turn on onion skin. And then we're gonna have to copy this first frame. Don't even think about what I just said. I'll talk about it in a second. Here's how I would draw the second frame. Each foot is gonna move. Well, the front foot, the foot that's on the ground. Those are the 2 feet on the ground, and then in the air. Depending on when you start your walk cycle. If you start it at this point, then the feet will change halfway. Yeah. Here, just watch. If I draw this next leg right there, and then I do some of that action. There. That's moving. The foot on the ground is moving across the ground. Okay, good. And now the foot in the front, which is, it's now the leg in the front, the right, because it crossed the plane. And the foot, as in that piece, is no longer in the back. So I would make it come out, and then this is where it starts to get straight. Right here. It might have a hint of bendiness still, just barely. There. Also, the angle of the foot. This is important. Look at this angle here, and that angle there. When this foot is out in front, it's never very high. When you're just walking at a casual pace, this angle is, it's never, actually I mean this angle, from right there to there, it's not much. At most, I would say 30 degrees, and then this is 45, and then this is 90. You know, your foot, when you're walking, never does, it never does that. When you're running, maybe, if you're going upstairs, or if you're going down a hill, is what I meant. If you're going downstairs, that's right. Then it will do that. But if you're running on a flat surface, I would say even if you're sprinting, your foot never does much more than 45. So there's that frame. So right now it's flat. It was like that. It was 30 the other way, which we'll see in a second. I'm just gonna keep going, then I'll talk about it once I'm done. Here, check it out. This is the next frame. Let me paste that body again. Keep your hips aligned. And then this is where it straightens out a lotly. What a word. Come on. There. Okay, and it starts to go up. Just a bit. Just a smidgen. That's good. Oh, this is a long video. Because it's walking, you gotta know you're walking. It's so hard to discuss all this stuff quickly. Okay, so this foot's still on the ground, and it's moving at the same speed. My hip is a little bit off right there. There. Good. It's coming along. It's coming along smooth. Like a loaf of butter. And then it hits. So once your foot hits in the front, it might start to go back because it's getting caught on the ground. In this context, the ground is the thing that's moving. In this frame of reference, as in a camera that is moving with a moving figure, the ground is what moves in your animation. Theoretically. If you have a background, you would make it move. But right now, this is just on white, so you can't really see what I'm talking about. But you can imagine. You're probably pretty imaginative if you're an animator. And then there it goes down. And not only does the foot bend down, but it does. There. The toes go with it. Done. And keep your feet from getting longer. Okay. Now the back leg is going to start to bend. Remember that whole waving tutorial? There's followers or there's leaders and followers, and then sub-followers who follow followers who lead. The leg, the thigh, is the leader, and the calf and the foot ultimately are followers. The foot isn't much of a follower because the ankle, you always are controlling what you're doing with your foot. But this part here, when you're walking, your legs swing like a pendulum underneath your hips. So, very much so, these are leaders and these are followers. So now, this one is changing direction from going that way to going that way. And it'll, like, instead of going more that way, it'll just stay where it was. Or maybe even start to rotate a little bit, like that. Maybe even more, like that. And the hips are getting off again. I'm just looking right there to line up my hips. Okay, now the foot is still getting dragged on the ground, even though this guy is starting to move. And then you get the foot raising up. And we're coming up. This is frame 4, so we've only got 2 more frames to get back to frame 1. And it looks like we're going to be good. Next thing. Okay, here's what you might do at this point. To keep yourself from not lining it up correctly, you might go and click copy frames on frame 1 and then paste it. I'll just make it at frame 7 because this is going to be a 6-frame walk cycle. And now my onion skin will show me frame 1 right here where I need to get to from where I'm at. So it's almost like it makes it easy to, it almost is like animating for you. You just draw the in-betweens at that point. Paste the body. And then, so I know that this is where my foot is now. And in 2 frames, it needs to get here. So I wouldn't put it here. I'll put it like, I'll put it from here to here. Then on the next one, I'll put it from here to here. From here to here. So just keeping in mind, and that's, I'm gonna get rid of this at the end so it doesn't double up when it loops, but it's a good helpful thing to do when you're doing cycles. Anything, fire cycles, liquid cycles, jumping cycles, and especially walking and running cycles. So here's this foot again, and then I'm just gonna put in this next frame right here so I don't even have to do it later. Good. Looking good. We're coming up. Okay, so now this one, we know it has to get from here to here in 2 frames, just like with the other. I'll put it there. And your foot is never too high off the ground, so that high, and then that high. And then that'll loop back up. Maybe so, turn it a little bit. Good. Yeah. Okay. And notice how it's going like, it's starting at this rotation, then that, then it gets flat, and then it goes up. Remember? Like, and then it goes up. Just like right there. So everything gradual. Now the legs. So this one's still bendy. It's probably, the back leg is probably the most bendy when they are about to cross. And then once they start to cross is when they stop being so bendy. Like right here. I'll draw this just like that. There. Let's just tuck that away there. And then the last frame. Here's where I would turn off the double onion skin just to get the before and the after. And there you can see it's easier to tell what is going on. Just gotta get the perfect line. That's close enough. No, it's not. I'll just do this. I'll just do this because it's faster. Put that there. I was holding shift to make a perfect line. Okay. That'll loop pretty well. And then this thing, you can just hide it in there, I suppose. And then put that right there. And I'm feeling like, is that, yeah, that's gonna be good. Alright, so let me just delete this last frame, remove it, right click remove. I have a hotkey for it, but you would do it like that. Okay, now, look at that! That's good. Check this out, check this out. If I double frame this up, and I'm putting the most frames out where the feet are the furthest apart, and then, oh yeah, okay, look at that. Oh, that's just, it feels good. Okay, so watch one leg, like watch this foot where my mouse is. See how, even though we only animated a single step, it looks like it just turns into the back foot once it loops. So you can use this as a walk cycle, and you don't even have to animate both legs individually. Okay, for the arms. Oh, the arms. So let me get rid of these double frames to make it easier. We're working our way up the body. We'll do the head last. Oh, I should save this just in case. Tutorials. We're gonna call this walk and save. Good. Hey, when you're walking, your arms move at they go apart when your legs go apart, like this. And then when your legs are together, they go together. Got that? Just remember that. And when your left leg is forward, your left arm is backwards. And when right leg is backwards, right arm is forwards. It doesn't matter for stick figures, but for full body, make sure that you do that right. Just go stand up and try and walk across your room with moving your right arm forwards and your right leg forwards. You'll look like a fool. You look like you're dancing. Maybe that's what you're going for. Here. Oh, also another thing, your arms don't move away from your body equally. Like this is wrong. Wrong. It'll look fine for stick figures, but that's not what actually happens. You only swing. This guy is kind of weird because he's leaning back the way I drew the torso, so this might not apply, but you only bring your back arm backwards about maybe 2/3 as far as you bring your front arm forwards. Just in general, because like everybody has bad posture and most people go like this when they walk. And even if you got perfect posture, nobody ever leans back when they walk. So just keep that in mind. Front arm almost always goes forward further than the back arm. Unless you got a guy that's going like this and he's strutting, then you would have more of that and less of that. Yep. So I'm gonna animate this right now. Here, the arms are together because the legs are together. This is where they cross. Just tiny little lines in there. You almost can't see it. Let's smooth that out. Alright. Now, I'll do one arm at a time. There's good. There's good. And then, now that the legs are starting to come together again, the arms will do the same. You can see, starting to come together just a little bit. It's subtle. And sometimes I like to do this where it's almost like kind of floppy, where the back arm looks like that as it's coming forward, like the top of the arm is the bicep. What's that called? I don't know. That part is like leading, and then the forearm is following. So it looks kind of like you look like, just go walk like that. You'll see what I'm talking about. It looks silly, and it looks funny, and Yeah, so it's your choice. And then as they start to come closer together, this back arm is making its way towards center. And then this is the closest. As it transitions to becoming the front arm at frame 6. There. And then after this, we're going to do head bob. Okay, so that looks good. Yeah. Yeah, it's fine. Now the front arm. Save. Here we go. The front arm is kind of the thing that, like, when you're walking, it's not so much as significant when you're walking as when you run, but your arms only move because they're, it's a whole science thing, but they're propelling you, without even being legs. The arm swing when you're walking is more like a byproduct of the movement, but they probably help a little bit. It creates torque or something. Come on, brush. Hey, that's not bad. You just gotta find that perfect arm. There, I drew that. Look at that. And then this one will swing out as they're getting further apart. If you want, you can like walk a bunch and then watch your feet as you go and watch your arms. I know that helped me when I was first starting. There's a YouTube channel called Endless Reference where it does end. I kid you not. They've only got like 25 videos, but they have a lot of videos of people walking in front of grids. If you want to look at some real life examples that are not yourself, then you can go watch them. And hey, don't take my word for it. Listen, I'm no authority on walk cycles, so just because you see me do anything, it is not even close to fact. I'm probably doing something wrong right now, but this is definitely how I do it. And hey, nobody's ever complained when they saw them. Okay, there. Good enough, right? Right? Yeah. Oh, it is kind of bad. I do kind of get a little rippling going on. It's right. There. This arm is too long to begin with. And even there, it's still too long. That shouldn't happen. Look at that. Perfect example of what not to do. Don't make the front arm change shape. It should always be like that. Or like that. Or like just, I mean, I'm dramatizing it, but it's always bending forward. The front arm never changes. It never does this. That's what I'm getting at. Except for maybe right at the beginning, if you're really doing like a silly walk. But for a casual walk. Yeah. I'm gonna do it now. The head bob. Because it's really easy. When the legs are apart, the head goes down. It just does. Because this, here, this distance, when these are bent, is shorter. Because when it would rotate back, just look at it, it's taller now than it was. So the head goes down when the feet are apart. I'm just going to move the body and the torso down a little bit as the legs go apart. I'll do 1, and then I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe no, 3. And then 1, 2, 2, and then 1 down, and then, yep, little tiny bob. If you can see it, it's happening. And now, the double frames. Yeah. I mean, okay, the shoulders are a little bit buggy, but if this was line tool, it'd be perfect. But there it is. There's a walk. A walkity, walk happen make. And you can download this in the description if you want. I mean, if that's in your heart desire. and analyze it frame by frame. But you just watched me animate it. Hey, listen, walk cycles. This isn't perfect, but it's okay for reference. I might patch it up a little bit before I put the link up. Because the back arm, nah, it's fine. Oh, you know what it is? You know what the heck it is? This is too much. Because it's already... Here, let's try that out for size. Good enough for me. Thank you so very kindly for watching this video. And go animate your own walk cycle. And hey, send it to me. Post a link in the comment. And hey, I'll look at it. And you have a wanderlust day. An absolutely wanderlust day.